Okay, Reddit, settle in, because I am at my absolute wit's end with my family, and I genuinely don't know if I'm the bad guy here, or if I'm just the only sane person left in a house of delusion. This has been brewing for years, but it all came to a head recently, and I need some outside perspective before I either explode or just pack my bags and move to Antarctica. My sister is the golden child who can do no wrong. After Grandma left me the house, my parents demanded I give it to her. Now they're trying to sabotage my life. IETA for finally standing up for myself. So, a little backstory. I'm Sarah, 28F. I have a younger sister, Jessica, 25F. Growing up, it was always about Jessica. She was the pretty one, the charming one, the one with potential. I was, well, I was Sarah, the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who got good grades but wasn't sparkly enough. If Jessica sneezed, my mom would rush her to the doctor. If I broke my arm, Mom would sigh and say, "Well, Sarah, you need to be more careful, don't you? You get the picture." My dad, bless his heart, is a bit more passive. He generally goes along with whatever Mom says to keep the peace. But I always felt like he saw me a little more clearly, even if he rarely voiced it. Mom lives and breathes for Jessica. Jessica could burn the house down, and Mom would probably blame the faulty wiring and praise Jessica for her bravery in escaping the non-existent blaze. Fast forward to now. I have a decent job as a graphic designer. I live in a small apartment. I pay my own bills. I'm not rich, but I'm self-sufficient. Jessica is an aspiring influencer, which in her case means she takes a lot of selfies, has about 500 followers, half of whom are probably bots or distant relatives. Mom guilt-tripped into following her, and still lives at home, rent-free with Mom and Dad, catering to her every whim. She's had a string of part-time jobs she's quit because the vibe was off, or they didn't appreciate her creativity. Mom always makes excuses. She's just finding herself, Sarah. It's a different world for young people today. Right. The catalyst for this whole dumpster fire was my Grandma Eleanor, my dad's mom. Grandma Eleanor was amazing. Sharp, funny, no nonsense. She and I were always close. She saw through the family dynamics. She'd often pull me aside and say things like, "Don't let them dull your shine, Sarah girl. You've got more grit in your little finger than some people have in their whole body." She passed away peacefully a few months ago, at 88. We were all heartbroken, me especially. Then came the reading of the will. Grandma Eleanor had a modest estate, some savings, some investments, and her house, a cute little two-bedroom bungalow in a nice quiet neighborhood. It's not a mansion, but it's paid off, well-maintained, and in a desirable area. The lawyer read it out. A few specific heirlooms to various cousins. A decent chunk of her savings and investments were to be split. 60% to my dad, her only child, and 20% each to me and Jessica. Fair enough? Then he got to the house. And the property located at 223 Oak Street, the lawyer read, along with all its contents, I bequeath solely to my granddaughter, Sarah Miller. You could have heard a pin drop. I was stunned. Absolutely floored. I looked over at my parents and Jessica. Mom's face was slowly turning a shade of purple I'd never seen before. Jessica just looked bewildered, like the lawyer had started speaking Martian. Dad looked surprised. Then a small, almost imperceptible smile touched his lips before he quickly schooled his features. There must be some mistake, Mom practically shrieked once the lawyer had finished. Eleanor must have been confused. She always said how much Jessica loved that little garden. Jessica had visited Grandma's garden, maybe twice in the last 5 years, and only to take selfies with the roses. The lawyer calmly explained that the will was perfectly valid, signed, witnessed, and Grandma Eleanor was of sound mind. Jessica finally found her voice. But I wanted that house. It's so cute. It would be perfect for my brand. She pouted, actually pouted like a 5-year-old. I was still trying to process it. Grandma left me her house. Me, not Jessica, not even Dad, to then pass on directly to me. It was an overwhelming gesture. The car ride home was an experience. Sarah, you have to do the right thing, Mom started, her voice tight. Obviously, this is a mistake. Your grandmother was old. You know, Jessica has always dreamed of having a little place of her own, to really launch her career. It's much more suited to her. Mom, Grandma Eleanor wasn't confused, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She knew exactly what she was doing. And it's her will. Don't be difficult, Sarah, Mom snapped. Jessica needs this. You have your apartment, you're stable. Jessica is still trying to get on her feet. This house would be a launch pad for her. You can just sign it over to her. Or sell it and give her the money so she can find something even better.
Give her the money?
I echoed incredulous. Mom, this is a huge gift, and Grandma gave it to me. Jessica, from the back seat, started to sniffle. But Sarah, it's not fair. Grandma always liked you better. I really need a fresh start, and that house is so Instagrammable. Oh, for crying out loud. Dad finally spoke up, quietly. Linda Eleanor made her wishes clear. Sarah, it's your house. Mom shot him a look that could curdle milk. Don't you start, Tom? You know this isn't right. We need to support Jessica. For the next few weeks, it was relentless. Every phone call, every visit, was about the house. Sarah, have you thought about what we discussed? Jessica found this adorable and ridiculously expensive furniture set that would look perfect in the sunroom. Sarah, your sister is really struggling with this. She feels so overlooked. Just a little generosity from you would mean the world to her. Sarah, if you don't want to give her the whole house, maybe you could just let her live there rent-free, and you could cover the property taxes and upkeep. It's the least you could do. The least I could do? After being gifted an entire house? I tried to be reasonable. Mom, Jessica, I appreciate that you're disappointed, but this is what Grandma wanted. I need some time to figure out what I'm gonna do. It's a big decision. My plan was to probably sell my apartment and move into Grandma's house. It would lower my expenses significantly, and honestly, it felt like a connection to her. Maybe I'd rent out my apartment for extra income, but they wouldn't let it go. It escalated. Mom started crying on the phone, telling me I was selfish and ungrateful, that I was tearing the family apart. Jessica would send me passive-aggressive texts with links to articles about sibling generosity or photos of herself looking forlornly at pictures of cute houses. The kicker came last week. I went over for Sunday dinner, a tactical error, I know. Sarah, Mom said, in that overly sweet voice that always precedes something awful. We've had a family discussion, me, your father, and Jessica. I noted that I wasn't included in this family discussion about my own property, and we've decided that the best, fairest solution is for you to sell the house, take maybe 20% for your trouble, and give the rest to Jessica. She can use it as a down payment on a condo in a trendier area, better for her influencing career. Your father agrees this is the most sensible path. I looked at Dad. He was staring intently at his mashed potatoes, refusing to meet my eye. My heart sank. Dad, I asked, do you really think that's fair? He mumbled something about keeping the peace and Jessica needing a leg up. I just snapped, not yelling, but my voice was cold, hard, and shaking with a rage I hadn't realized was simmering so close to the surface. No, I said. Absolutely not. The house is mine. Grandma Eleanor, who you all conveniently seem to forget was a very intelligent woman, left it to me. Not to Jessica. Not to be sold for Jessica's influencing career. To me. Sarah, don't take that tone with me! Mom bristled. What tone, Mom? I asked. The tone of someone who is finally tired of being treated like a doormat. The tone of someone who is sick of her sister being coddled and enabled while I'm expected to sacrifice everything. Jessica is a grown woman. If she wants a house, she can get a job and save for one, like I did for my apartment. Jessica burst into tears. You're so mean, Sarah. You always have to ruin everything. You're just jealous because Mom and Dad love me more. And there it was. The quiet part out loud. Mom rushed to comfort Jessica. Oh, sweetie, don't cry. Sarah's just being difficult and selfish. She doesn't understand. She then turned to me, her eyes blazing. I am so disappointed in you, Sarah. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done for me? I laughed. A short, bitter sound. You mean like constantly comparing me to Jessica? Like making me feel second best my entire life? Like demanding I hand over a life-changing inheritance to someone who hasn't worked an honest day in years? Yeah, thanks for that. I stood up. I'm not discussing this anymore. The house is mine. End of story. And frankly, I'm reconsidering how much contact I want with people who clearly have so little respect for me or for Grandma's wishes. I walked out. Dad followed me to the door, looking miserable. Sarah, please. Just try to see it from your mother's perspective. She just wants Jessica to be happy. And what about my happiness, Dad? I asked, my voice cracking a little. Does that ever factor in, or Grandma's? She wanted me to have this. Doesn't that mean anything? He just looked down. So Reddit, that's where I am. They haven't spoken to me since, except for a barrage of angry text from Mom calling me heartless, and a string of crying emojis from Jessica. I feel guilty, of course. It's my family, but I also feel liberated and incredibly angry. Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my inheritance? For finally calling them out on years of favoritism? Is there any way to salvage this, or should I just accept that my relationship with my mother and sister is probably torched? Update 1. Wow. Reddit. Just wow. I honestly didn't expect such an overwhelming response. Thousands of comments. Thank you, seriously. Reading through your messages of support, your own stories of golden children and family drama, it made me feel so much less alone, and dare I say, validated. A lot of you said to stand my ground, get a lawyer to reaffirm everything, which I did. The will is ironclad, and to consider the possibility that my family's reaction isn't about fairness, but about control and their own enmeshment with Jessica. You guys were spot on. So the silent treatment for Mom and Jessica continued for about a week after my last post. Dad would call, sounding stressed, and try to mediate. Sarah, your mother is very upset. Jessica isn't eating. Can't you just offer some kind of compromise? Dad? I'd say, trying to be patient but firm. Grandma gave me the house. The compromise was her not giving it to Jessica. I'm not negotiating Grandma's will. He'd sigh and hang up. Then the tactics shifted. If I wouldn't cave to direct demands or emotional blackmail, they'd try other methods. First, the flying monkeys started. Aunt Carol, Mom's sister, who also thinks Jessica hung the moon, called me. Sarah, dear, I heard about this unfortunate business with the house. Your mother is beside herself. You know, family is so important. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the ones we love. Jessica is so fragile, you know. Aunt Carol, I said, with all due respect, Grandma made her choice. And Jessica is 25, not 5. She's capable of understanding. Click. Then an old family friend of Mom's cornered me at the grocery store with a similar spiel. It was exhausting. I decided the best thing to do was to actually start dealing with Grandma's house. I got the keys from the lawyer and went over there. It was emotional, walking through it knowing it was mine, filled with her things, her memories. It needed a good clean out, some fresh paint, but it was structurally sound and had such a warm, loving feel. I felt Grandma Eleanor's presence there, and it strengthened my resolve. I started spending weekends there, sorting through things, clothes to donate, sentimental items to keep, paperwork to file. This is where it gets interesting. Last Saturday, I was in Grandma's little office, going through her old desk, tucked away in the back of a drawer, underneath a stack of old stationery. I found a slim, leather-bound journal. It was Grandma Eleanor's, not like a daily diary, but more like a ledger of thoughts and occasional events. My heart pounded. I almost didn't want to read it, like I was invading her privacy, but something told me I should. I sat down on her old armchair and started reading entries from the last few years. A lot of it was mundane, notes about her garden, books she'd read, visits from friends. But then there were entries about our family. And read it, it was like Grandma was speaking to me from beyond the grave, explaining everything. There were entries detailing her disappointment with Jessica's lack of ambition and sense of entitlement. October 12th, Jessica visited today. Asked for $500 for a modeling workshop. Smelled a rat, gave her $50 and told her to get a job. Linda, my mom, called later. Furious, I dashed Jessica's dreams. Some dreams need a reality check. January 5th, Tom, my dad, confessed Linda took money from their joint savings to pay for Jessica's influencer retreat in Bali after I refused. Said it was to keep the peace. Peace at what cost, Tom? Enabling isn't love. But the most telling entries were about me. March 22nd, Sarah came by, helped me fix the leaky faucet, and then we just talked for hours. That girl has such a good head on her shoulders, and a kind heart, works hard, asks for nothing. Linda doesn't see what a gem she has in her. Too busy polishing the zirconia. Oof, Grandma, savage and true. And then the entry that made me cry. July 10th, about 6 months before she passed. Made a final decision about the house today. It goes to Sarah. She's the only one who truly appreciates it. The only one who will cherish it, not see it as a cash grab or a prop. She's earned a bit of security, a place to call her own without strings. Tom will get a good share of the money. He can use it as he sees fit, though I fear Linda will steer much of it. Jessica's way. But the house is for Sarah. It's my way of telling her I see her. I always have. Reading that, it was like a weight lifted. It wasn't just a whim, or her being confused. It was a deliberate, thoughtful decision, based on years of observation. She knew. She knew how Mom and Jessica were. She knew Dad was weak. And she did this for me. Armed with this new understanding, I haven't told anyone about the journal yet. I felt even stronger. The next day, Jessica showed up at Grandma's house while I was there. Unannounced, she just walked in as I had the front door open for airing the place out. "Oh, hi, Sarah," she said, feigning surprise, though her eyes were scanning everything like a vulture. "Just thought I'd pop by, see how you're doing with all this." She gestured vaguely around. "I'm doing fine, Jessica," I said coolly, sorting things out. "It's a lot bigger than I remembered," she mused, walking into the living room. "You know, that wall would be perfect for a feature mural for my TikToks, and the garden really needs a professional landscaper. I know a great one, a bit pricey, but worth it for the aesthetic." I just stared at her. The audacity. "Jessica," I said, "this is my house. I'll decide what happens with the walls and the garden. And I'd appreciate it if you'd call before coming over." She pouted. "Don't be like that, Sarah. We're sisters. I was just trying to help you visualize its potential. You know, if you ever decide to do the right thing and let me have it, or at least let me manage its brand identity." I almost laughed. Manage its brand identity? Jessica, it's a house, not a fledgling Instagram account. Her face hardened. "You know, Mom's right. You are selfish, and you'll be all alone in this big old house. See how you like it then." With that, she flounced out. "So, that's the latest. They're still trying to wear me down. Jessica is now trying to assert some kind of bizarre creative control over a property that isn't hers. Mom is probably masterminding this from home. Dad is MIA, probably hiding. The journal is my secret weapon for now. I don't know if or when I'll reveal its contents. Part of me wants to photocopy those pages and mail them to Mom and Dad. Part of me wants to just keep it for myself, a reminder of Grandma's love and insight. What do you guys think? Do I tell them about the journal? And how do I deal with Jessica's increasingly bold attempts to insert herself into my house? I'm thinking of changing the locks, even though I already have all the keys. Paranoia, or good sense. This drama is far from over. I can feel it. Update. Hello again, Reddit. It's been a wild month since my last update. Your continued support and advice have been like a virtual lifeline. Many of you advised me to change the locks. Done, first thing after Jessica's visit, and to be very careful about revealing the journal, suggesting it might just give them more ammunition to twist. You also overwhelmingly said I needed to set firm boundaries. So that's what I've been focusing on. After Jessica's unwelcome visit to Grandma's house, I knew I couldn't just let things slide. Her entitlement was off the charts. The next day, I sent a group text to Mom, Dad, and Jessica. It said, "To be clear, Grandma Eleanor's house is mine, as per her will. I will be making all decisions regarding it. Unannounced visits are not welcome. If you wish to come over, you need to call and arrange it with me first, like any other guest." Continued attempts to pressure, guilt trip, or manipulate me into giving up my inheritance will result in me limiting contact. I love you all, but I will not be disrespected, nor will I allow Grandma's wishes to be ignored. Short, to the point, and I hoped unambiguous. Mom's reply was instantaneous. "How dare you speak to us like that, Sarah? After all we've done, you are tearing this family apart with your selfishness. Grandma would be ashamed of you." Jessica sent a string of broken heart emojis. "And I can't believe you're being so cruel." Dad. Dad actually called me. "Sarah," he sounded exhausted. "Your mother is, well, she's taking this hard, and Jessica is devastated." "Dad," I said, my voice firm but not unkind. "I'm devastated too. I'm devastated that my own family thinks so little of me, that they believe I should just roll over and hand over something so significant that was gifted to me. I'm devastated that Grandma's clear wishes are being trampled on. What about that?" There was a long pause. Then he said, very quietly, "Your grandmother was a smart woman, Sarah. She always knew her own mind." It wasn't an apology. Not really. But it was something. An acknowledgement, maybe. A few days later, I was at Grandma's house, continuing to sort. My friend Liam, who's been an absolute rock through all this, was helping me. We were in the attic, a place I hadn't really tackled yet, when Liam stumbled upon a dusty old shoebox, labeled Jessica, school stuff. Curiosity got the better of me. Inside wasn't just old report cards. There were letters. Letters between my mom and Jessica's old boarding school. Yes, for a brief disastrous year when she was 6, Jessica was sent to a fancy boarding school because she was too brilliant for local high school. She lasted 6 months before demanding to come home because it was stifling her creativity. The letters were illuminating. They weren't about Jessica's brilliance. They were from the school to my parents, detailing Jessica's consistent refusal to adhere to school rules, lack of academic effort, disruptive behavior in class, and even a formal warning for unauthorized possession and distribution of, let's just say, items that were not on the approved school supplies list. There was also a letter from Mom, begging the school to give Jessica another chance, blaming Jessica's behavior on artistic temperament and being misunderstood. So not only was Grandma Eleanor aware of Jessica's true nature, but Mom had been actively covering for her and enabling her for years, even to the detriment of Jessica's own development. This discovery on top of Grandma's journal painted a very clear picture. I decided I wouldn't use the journal or these letters as weapons in a big confrontation. Instead, I'd use them to fuel my own resolve and to inform how I dealt with any future interactions. The big confrontation happened organically, though. About a week after my text message boundary setting, Mom called. She was uncharacteristically subdued. "Sarah, can we talk? Your father and I would like to come over to your apartment." I was wary but agreed. "Okay, Mom. But the discussion about the house is over. I'm not changing my mind." "We understand," she said, surprisingly. They came over. Jessica was not with them, which was a relief. Mom looked tired. Dad looked anxious. "Sarah," Mom began, twisting her hands in her lap. We haven't handled this well. I was upset. I felt your grandmother had made a mistake, that she didn't understand Jessica's needs." "She understood perfectly, Mom," I said calmly. "She knew exactly what she was doing." I didn't elaborate on how I knew. Mom flinched a little. "Perhaps, but seeing you so determined, and after talking with your father, we realize this is your decision. The house is yours." Dad nodded. "It is, Sarah, and we should have respected that from the start. Your grandmother loved you very much. She wanted this for you." I was stunned. Was this an apology? "What about Jessica?" I asked. Mom sighed. Jessica is Jessica. She's still upset. She feels entitled, I suppose. We've spoiled her, I see that now. Your father and I have been talking. She needs to start taking responsibility for her own life. We told her we won't be funding her influencer dreams indefinitely. She needs to get a job, a real one." I almost fell off my chair. "We also told her," Dad added, "that she needs to apologize to you for her behavior." "Will she?" I asked. "We hope so," Mom said. "But that's up to her. What we wanted to say, Sarah, is that we're sorry. We're sorry for pressuring you, for making you feel awful. We love you, and we want you in our lives." Tears pricked my eyes. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a magical fix for years of imbalance. But it was a start, a huge start. "Thank you," I whispered. "That means a lot." Since then, things have been cautiously better. Mom and Dad are making an effort. They ask about my life, my work. They still talk about Jessica, but it's different. More about their concerns for her future, less about how I need to rescue her. Jessica sent me a text a few days ago. "Hey, sorry about the house stuff. Mom and Dad are being lame. Wanna grab coffee?" It wasn't exactly a heartfelt apology, but for Jessica it was monumental. I agreed to coffee. It was awkward. She mostly complained about Mom and Dad not getting her brand, and how hard it is to find a job that aligns with her soul. But she didn't mention the house once, except to say, "It's kinda cool you're fixing it up." Progress? Maybe. I've officially moved into Grandma's house. It feels like home. I'm painting, planning renovations, and slowly making it my own, all while cherishing Grandma's memory in every corner. I found a local contractor to help with some bigger projects, using some of the money Grandma left me. My apartment is now rented out, giving me a nice bit of extra income. My relationship with my parents is still a work in progress. Trust needs to be rebuilt, but for the first time, I feel like they see me, Sarah, not just Jessica's less sparkly older sister. Dad seems relieved, lighter. Mom is trying, and I appreciate that. As for Jessica, well, she's Jessica. Last I heard, she got a part-time job at a clothing boutique. She hates it, of course, but she's doing it. Baby steps. I don't know if our family will ever be perfect, but it feels more real now. And I learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes standing up for yourself, even when it's terrifying, is the only way to get others to see your worth. And sometimes the people who truly see you leave behind more than just material things. They leave behind the strength to claim your own space in the world. Thanks, Reddit, for being my sounding board. I couldn't have navigated this without your collective wisdom and support. It truly made all the difference. Maybe I'm not the asshole after all. Maybe I'm just Sarah, finally living her life in her own house. And it feels pretty good.